Welcome to another episode of You Don't Know Jack with Lydia and Matt. How's it going, Matt?
I'm easy like Sunday morning.
Yes, you are. Look at you.
It is Sunday morning.
It is Sunday morning. We're both in our casual attire,
Yes.
which is our preference.
My
yes.
Sunday morning started very early.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about this. You are beating the battle of waking up super early because you, as we talked about before, you had a trial and you were amped and, you know, the whole thing, and you got to come down off of that. And yesterday you were thinking, I'm winning.
Made it to 6:05.
6:05.
I was so like happy.
Which is still like crazy.
I understand, but for me
you,
it was
that's
progress.
good.
Felt like progress.
Yeah. And then today what happened?
4:34 or 4:36, one or the other. Let's call it 4:35.
Let's just call it 4:30. We'll give you a couple extra minutes just to get out of bed. Realize you're not falling back to sleep.
No, I mean I quickly got up and used the restroom, went downstairs and made coffee. I was like I could just tell at 4:35.
You do have that feeling like where you're just up.
Right. No.
Yeah.
I knew instantly when I woke up. I was like, "Yep, nope, I'm not."
Don't fight it.
Don't like lay back down, close my eyes, like, and try to like wheel myself back to sleep.
I
already did that at 2.
Oh
that
no!
happened at 2.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So again, my friend who's a physician explained to me I have elevated cortisol levels. They will go back to normal. I'm hoping sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
he told me that keep exercising, which I went out and did today.
Yeah.
And he said to me, well, feel better. A lot of people, when their cortisol levels are high, they gain weight. I've lost weight since all this started. So I guess there's something, a silver lining.
I mean, I guess. I mean, but still, I think you should be sleeping more than you are.
Yeah, I trust me. Nobody wants to sleep more than I do.
I don't know.
As we were downstairs, I was yawning, and I thought, man, I'm tired. I can't believe I'm tired this morning. And then I realized, well, I've already been up for 6-7 hours.
You've had a full day.
Yeah.
You've had a full day. Are you going to bed at 4 o'clock, or what's going on?
No, I'm going to
you're going to power through?
Well, I try to power through because I keep thinking like, okay,
then I'll be really tired.
Right. Try to normalize it. So I am switched on this morning. I've had a lot of coffee.
You have. And I've contributed.
Yeah, no. I had 2 cups here and
high test.
4 at my house. So yeah, I mean, it's, up and running.
You're rocking and rolling.
I mean, got a lot done already though.
You did. You went to the
5
market.
miles in, went to the market. I'm here to podcast, and it's what time is it? 11-ish?
It's 11:11.
11:11. Bless up.
I know.
I
mean, I think so. The market is definitely in my game plan in the next, I think, either tomorrow evening or
you got to be strategic
tonight.
about the market because it is the holiday season. It can be really busy. That's why I was running late getting here because I was like, I got done walking out of the college, a lot happening out of the college. The big project.
The WOW complex. Yeah.
I didn't go out into where that is yet, but it's really exciting. For those of you who don't know, ACM, the WOW complex, going to build some athletic fields, more walking trails. Pickleball courts going to be. It's awesome. So it's another big win.
Yeah.
Helping make Mountain Maryland a good place to live.
Yeah.
This is quality of life stuff.
Absolutely.
And always a big fan of that.
Speaking quality of life, you can now drive down Baltimore Street.
Downtown.
FYI,
Listen,
local news.
I mean, downtown Baltimore Street. I feel like this is, and look, I don't want to be like I've drank all the Kool-Aid and then I'm naive. I really feel like there's a renaissance going on in Cumberland. You can feel it. Mm-hmm. We've hit Nader a while ago. We're on the way back up. That means bottoming now.
Yes.
I know you understand that. For those of you who don't know.
Now you do.
Yeah. It's generally used more in medicine. We'll talk about Nader. Usually with contractions if you really want to get boring, the Nader.
Yep.
And heart rates and stuff like that. But I think we did hit Nader a while ago, and I think I don't think Baltimore Street is the peak.
No, I think it's
the first rung of the rise. I really do. But I think it looks great.
It looks great. It was, I'm going to tell you, it was a little weird driving down Baltimore Street.
I haven't done it. Told you, I drove across. I crossed over it.
Yes, which is something you've done for years.
Right.
So that's not uncommon.
But not nearly as high a bump, by the way, either.
Oh, really?
I was kind of caught off guard. Like you kind of brace brace yourself for those bumps.
Yeah, they're not there
anymore. No. So I was kind of caught off guard by that. Like, you brace yourself. You're like, all right, like a speed bump, like few things in the world I hate like speed bump.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like what sadist came up with those? So you're just trying to hurt my back because
yeah, probably.
you're jarred.
Yeah, and it's totally unnecessary.
Yes.
But I would say like being told your entire life not to drive on the brakes, with the exception of Irma Deason, who did it all the time. Rest in peace.
Yep.
But I
Rest
feel
in
it.
power.
Yeah, seriously.
Former Spanish and French teacher for me. Shout out.
Well, she was that was a woman. Yeah. Anyway, so would drive on the bricks all the time, which was fine because she had special dispensation. But I had never done it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go straight. I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it. And
you've done it. I haven't done it yet.
I did it on Wednesday.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna drive down and see what. And there's also there's parking now.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, well, I guess I could park in front of the building I'm going into. And then I was like, well, but I don't know how long the parking is. They haven't listed. It's not yet.
Right.
It'll be shorter durations. They'll be having them marked. But I was like, I just feel weird about it. So I'm just going to park where I'm supposed to park, blah, 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 blah. But it was super interesting. And I drove really slow. And it's a perspective I've never had before, driving in a car and looking at this building, which is pretty cool.
I'm going to have. I have done it, but I cannot remember doing it.
Well, next time you get up at 4:30 in the morning,
I know.
Take yourself downtown and go through.
I have done it, but like I said, I think I was like 2 or 3 when they closed the street. I think it was like 79, 80 when they closed it.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, I don't really remember it. No, I'm looking forward to it. But I think Mountain Maryland, Cumberland is, in my mind, is the epicenter of Mountain Maryland. Mm-hmm. And I think Cumberland is on the rise.
100%.
I see it in my daily business.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel it.
You can, and I feel there's a definite shift because the people, like our generation of people, are like who have been outside of the area for a longer, either worked outside of the area or have traveled outside of the area, lived, know that there's a basic quality of life and basic effort, minimal effort to get really great results.
Yeah.
And I think that we're just saying like we deserve to have nice things here.
Yeah.
And we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah. Let the word go forth from this day forward that a new generation of Cumberlanders, those born of the late 20th century, tempered by economic downturn,
over and over again, living through all of the and unprecedented events after unprecedented events.
And let them understand that this new generation will bear any burden, pay any price, aid any friend, oppose any foe.
Yeah. We're killing it.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some
So, by the way, and if you don't know, I just plagiarized parts of John F. Kennedy.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I know you might, but I did plagiarize parts of John F. Kennedy's inauguration.
Good Irish Catholic.
Yeah.
So college football.
College football, big upset. It was a Saturday afternoon massacre.
It was. Okay, so all the teams we talked about last week having 9-0, 9-0, 9-0, now have a 1 behind.
Yeah, well, BYU has 2. They lost back-to-back.
They lost
back-to-back weeks.
They did. So BYU lost yesterday to Arizona State, and they said, fans prematurely stormed the field following Arizona State blocking a Hail Mary pass at BYU. Listen, I think if people say, oh, they should have better security. I'm sorry. When you have what are you supposed to do? You have a mass of people coming at you. You're the security guard. You're supposed to just say like, hey guys, maybe don't do that. It's hard to. It's crowd control is a difficult thing.
And by the way, also one of the largest universities in America, Arizona State, undergrad, it's like 55, 60,000
Yeah,
students.
and they're not exactly known for being like angels either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So OSU, go Bucks, 38-15.
OH.
IO.
Yeah.
10-0 streak for Indiana yesterday. I mean,
it's been a great story. Indiana's been a great story all year.
They came up against the big guys last night.
Yeah.
And
I don't disagree with their coach. I think as of right now, I would still think Indiana's a top 12 program in America.
Sure.
But they definitely got exposed. On a talent level, they got exposed.
Absolutely. They just shut them down.
Yeah.
And then Army, the Knights.
The Black Knights.
The Black Knights just didn't have it in them.
Notre Dame was very good yesterday.
Were so good.
And I am a Notre Dame fan as I'm sitting here wearing Play Like a Champion today.
Yep. Perfect.
But
well done.
I will say that, Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame's relatively young head coach. He is younger than me by at least 4 or 5 years. I think he's older than you, but younger than me. He's
Perfect.
in between us.
He's in a sweet spot.
Yeah. And he said
between greatness.
He said, what did he tell his teams before the game? And he said, we're going to play violently.
Yeah.
And he didn't mean like dirty, but what he meant is like they're going to be really aggressive. They have to take the fight to Army, and they did.
The Fighting Irish beat Army.
I thought Notre Dame. Look, I am a Notre Dame fan. I'm not saying they're going to win a national title, but I think Notre Dame's clearly a top 5 team in America right now.
And they have been the last 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, they're a very good football team. They are, they're really good. And not surprisingly, they have a defensive-minded coach. Notre Dame's very good on defense, and Notre Dame can flat out run the football.
They can, and they just stay on the gas. Yeah, they just stay on the gas.
And man, they get after you. They're nasty. Like defensively, they have some nasty football players. They hit hard. They don't hit dirty, but they hit really hard. The team tackles as a group. I mean, there were some
Ravens should
big
just-
collisions.
huge
And, you know,
collisions.
clearly size is always going to be against Army because those guys have size issues because they, you know, have the
They're not really
athletic
recruiting for their,
endeavors
yeah,
on 'em.
exactly. That's not their main focus in
and
Army.
no, but I will tell you, the Army guys and Navy guys never back down from a fist fight. Okay, they're willing to engage on a football.
Yeah.
You know, the kind of that physical nature, and Notre Dame really out physicaled Army. That's a tough team to out physical because you have the size and the athleticism, but there's usually so much heart with the academy schools. And I'm not saying they didn't have heart, but man, Notre Dame had a lot of heart yesterday. So it was a great win for the Fighting Irish.
Your Terps lost to Iowa 29-13.
So listen, you know,
I mean,
1-7 in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
It is. There's a lot of disappointment in College Park.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, Locks is fine. You know, he went to 3 straight bowl games. He's not going to go this year. They have a top recruiting quarterback coming in from Archbishop Spalding.
Oh, nice. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's an elite talent coming in.
I feel like every program goes through this.
And listen, Maryland's. Look, I think they have a lot of talent. I think Loxley needs help. He had to take over the play calling. Maryland, might be paying Loxley, but they've got to spend more money and get him some really solid offensive defensive coordinators. He needs help.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do it everything.
Yeah,
I mean, he's the head coach, but he does.
And it's very hard to be the head coach and call plays. It is.
Yes.
It's and look, Locks, guys, he was assistant coach at Alabama when a team that won a national championship as an offensive coordinator. He can call plays.
Yeah.
But man, when you're calling plays as the head coach, then it's clock management, game management, all that stuff starts to become. It just becomes a lot. Now, there's certain guys that do it, and are more adept at it than others, but it's just really hard to do.
I think it's the nature of the game that you can't just have one person doing everything because then something gets lost in the sauce.
I mean, look, Nick Saban is one of an elite defensive mind. Nick Saban was not calling the defense at Alabama.
No.
I do think Lane Kiffin calls the plays at Ole Miss, which is kind of Lane being Lane, but he's very good at it. But I'm saying it's the exception, not the rule. Kirby Smart is not calling the defense. We know he's an elite defensive coordinator because he won multiple national championships at Alabama and he's won it at Georgia, but he's not calling the defense.
No.
So it's just really hard to do.
They just need some personnel updates.
And that's where you see a lot of trouble with the NFL.
Yeah.
Where these guys are hired because they're hotshot coordinators, and I understand that. And it's really Nick Sirianni, right? He's no longer calling the plays in Philly.
Right.
It's hard to do both.
Yeah.
Andy Reid does not call the plays in
doesn't.
Kansas City, and he's certainly an offensive guru. Belichick could call the offense and the defense, and has at different times depending on coordinator situations.
Sure.
But a lot of times, I mean, look at Bill Belichick, right? When he was at his zenith, it was Charlie Weiss calling the offense and Romeo running the defense.
Yeah.
Belichick was running it all, but he wasn't. It's just hard to do, and Locks gets stuck doing that, and so.
Yeah, he's got too much going on,
Yeah.
so he needs some help. So Maryland, get on that.
So it's been it's a difficult year at College Park, and
It'll get better.
It will. TBIA
Yeah.
is that's a very popular Maryland hashtag.
Absolutely. The best is yet to come.
The best is ahead.
Oh, the best
The
is
best is
ahead.
ahead. TBIA. So yeah.
So NFL last Thursday, we did a podcast last Thursday.
Yes.
We had a nice dinner
Yes.
last Thursday, and then
I'm the Philly good luck charm.
you are the Philly good luck charm.
According to your husband Tim.
Yes. So the Eagles beat the Commanders, which I must say are looking pretty good this year
Yes.
for the first time in a long time. And the Eagles were working on losing the game the first half. So they were losing when you fell asleep, and then when you woke up the next day, they won.
Very early the next day.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, no, but so this is 2 big games for Philly.
Mm-hmm.
You, Tim, and I broke bread for both of them,
Yep.
and there you go. Philly's or the Eagles 2-0 when
Yeah, I know.
you and Tim and I broke bread.
Yeah, we'll keep that trend going.
Exactly.
So Ty Johnson's Buffalo Bills beat the undefeated Chiefs in front of a sold-out home crowd.
I think it. I thought Josh Allen played really well.
Yes.
I'm not of the mindset that he is the front runner for the MVP. Some people sort of jump to that. Lamar Jackson's had just an unbelievable year.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to talk about that game. He did not play great against the Steelers.
No.
But he didn't necessarily play badly. His team doesn't help him sometimes.
Yes.
But I think he's very close to Lamar Jackson in terms of, if I was voting on the MVP, it would be 1-2, those guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that loss, I think takes some pressure off Kansas City. I think it probably helps refocus Kansas City. Kansas City has not looked great. I'm not taking anything away from a team that goes 9-0.
They're barely winning these games.
But they're squeaking by.
Yeah.
And again, part of that's their greatness, or they're able to win different ways. but their offense has looked very average. Actually, Kansas City's won a lot because their defense is very good.
Their defense is good. And I think a lot of offensive players have been a lot of injuries, a lot of
Pacheco's still out.
Yeah. So there's just like and they've said that look, we're at a deficit in some of our offense, but honestly, I feel like you're right. The Kansas is probably like being perfect. It comes with its own challenges.
It does.
And I think that they just probably need, this is nice to just be like, okay, we're not perfect. We don't have to worry about having an undefeated season and going to the Super Bowl.
They know, hey, if they go 14-3, they'll be the number 1 overall seed. They'll have to run to Kansas City.
Yeah.
And
like we don't have to be perfect. We don't have to win every game. And and we're halfway through the season, so we're in good shape.
No. I mean, a very good football team, but the Bills at times have looked like the best team in the NFL. Of course, again, those who are, anointing Josh Allen as the MVP forgot that the Ravens literally took Buffalo apart limb from limb.
They did.
It was just a bloodletting.
It was, Ty scored a touchdown.
Yeah, but that was
that was about the highlight.
That was the highlight for them because I think it was like 35-14, 35-7. It was.
But I was like, oh, good, Ty got a touchdown.
I know. I was happy that Ty got a touchdown too.
On home field.
And we got a shout out that it was from his, this is essentially a home game for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Or as close as he gets. But I thought it was a great win for the Bills.
Yeah, I was happy to see it.
Yeah.
So the Ravens lost to the Steelers on Sunday, which is a big game for our area because we are split 3 ways in this section of humanity. So we've got the Commanders, the Steelers.
The Commanders definitely take the smaller piece. It's like 40-40-20.
I would say so.
Like the Ravens, the Steelers taking 40% each, and the Commanders take Commanders, and then everybody else takes up about 20.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I mean, they lost. I really, honestly, I didn't watch the game. I mean, I watched bits and pieces.
Pittsburgh kicked 6 field goals. It's all they could not score.
Okay.
The Ravens ran a very terrible 2-point play that didn't seem to make a lot of sense to everybody at the end. And then the real story is Justin Tucker missed 2 field goals again. And someone, this and that, and I said, listen, Father Time is undefeated in this game.
Yep.
Maybe it's the yips, but I'm telling you, NFL stands for not for long. No matter how good you are. Look, I think
even
Justin
if you
Tucker
are a kicker,
is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I think he will be in the Hall of Fame. But you can't make kicks. You're short for this league.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not hitting the panic button as a Ravens fan. I think the Ravens are a very good football team. I think they have defensive shortcomings.
I think they just had an off day.
And I do. And listen, I think one of the most consistently underrated coaches in the NFL was Mike Tomlin. Pittsburgh people drive me crazy for their criticisms of Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
This is now going to be the 18th. It's either his 18th or 19th season. He has never had a losing season.
No.
Ever.
Yeah. So just get off your high horse and just chill out.
And Mike Tomlin is in the, listen, if Pittsburgh parted company with Mike Tomlin today, he would be walking into NFL teams saying, hello, partner.
Right.
Because they'd be giving him ownership interest. He is an elite motivator, an elite coach. I love Mike Tomlin as a football coach. I think he's one of the great interviews in sports. He's just
very honest.
where he says, and they get those Tomlinisms, the standard is the standard,
Yeah.
Take things to the lab, dissect it,
Figure out what happened.
Yeah. He likes, big plays. He likes to call them splash plays. Got to make splash plays.
Absolutely.
But I think Mike Tomlin is, Mike Tomlin is a Hall of Fame coach.
Sure. But even Hall of Fame coaches can lose to the Cleveland Browns.
Well, and the Ravens and Steelers have both lost to the Browns.
What is it with the Browns? It's it's like a Cleveland curse.
The Browns, nobody thought the Browns would be bad this year.
No,
but they have been. But very good defense. Myles Garrett's, what a wasted talent.
Yeah.
Because he's never going to get what he deserves. But they made a terrible contract with their quarterback Watson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they've had decent backup play from Jameis Winston.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I saw this the week before. The Browns are playing the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
Half of the Saints team was standing in line to talk to Jameis.
Yeah.
By all accounts, he's one of the legendary teammates in the NFL. Everybody loves Jameis Winston. And, again, Jameis Winston's going to account for about every game 4 touchdowns and or interceptions.
Right.
There's going to be a combination of that number of 4.
Right.
But he is players love him, teammates love him. He plays really hard and he played really well. And that's what you get. So when you get good Jameis, man, he's a good football player. And the Steelers Pickens wide receiver shooting his mouth off without the snow. I mean, the Browns are playing in it too, man.
Listen, okay. Look, I know it's the 20. When was this? That game was Thursday, so that would have been the 21st. So the 21st of November.
Yes.
Dear, it is. We are fully in climate change mode right now. And if you're complaining about,
and you're playing in Cleveland,
but
it's called Lake Effect Snow.
Exactly. I said you should be lucky that it isn't 3
I mean,
feet
you can
field.
see the lake from the stadium. It's
exactly.
It abuts the lake.
Yeah. So I mean, this is it. And also, you are from Pittsburgh. It's not like you're accustomed to
from
beautiful
weather.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like you're not from Miami.
Yeah.
Get over it. So there's no excuses there. But yeah. But today we've got some pretty good classic matchups. We got the Commanders versus the Cowboys at 1 o'clock.
One of those kind of classic NFL rivalries.
Yeah.
Even though the Cowboys are a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
The Commanders have struggled though against good talent.
They have, yeah.
Now to their credit, they've beaten every bad team they've played. They
very
beat
true.
bad teams.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've lost to the Steelers, the Ravens, the Eagles, and they played one other team with a winning record and then lost. So they've lost.
I honestly feel, but here's my thing about the Commanders. They have been terrible.
Yeah.
Even losing against bad teams, the teams that they were not equipped
right.
to compete with. So my thing is they're coming up, they're
on the
footing.
They're on the come.
Yeah, and it's nice to see. So they're competitive, and the fans are coming back. I think are a little bit more, happier. In general.
It doesn't feel like a home game for the visiting team quite so much as it does now. When they were playing Pittsburgh, it was clear it was a very pro Pittsburgh crowd. Of course,
well that happens.
But that's also because nobody's from DC.
Correct.
Nobody's from there.
No.
They're not. Very rare.
Very rare that there's somebody from
people,
DC.
But I mean, no. So that's a very good game coming up.
Yeah, and then the Eagles take on the LA Rams, a evenly matched team.
Yeah.
Another good game.
Listen, I think the Eagles are a sneaky good football team.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Eagles offense is elite. Saquon, what a great fit he's been.
Yeah.
I just think they're a very good football team. The Eagles, it comes down to one thing. What are they going to do in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Okay. Because they've disappointed in the playoffs. That's a very talented team. And I think the Eagles are a good football team.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a good game.
They and the Lions seem to be clearly the two best teams in the NFC. Jack agrees.
Yeah,
we just heard him down there.
So I think that I'm looking forward to 2 good games, the 1 o'clock game and the 8:20 game, and then Monday.
And Jack is giving somebody the business.
He is giving this. Maybe there's a package.
Maybe.
Who knows? Monday, the Ravens, the Harbaugh.
The Harbowl.
The Harbowl.
Yeah.
I was going to say the Harbaugh Bowl, but that's
too
much.
Two dolts play against each other.
Who's
got it better than us?
Two
Nobody.
Guys in khaki pants.
Yeah. But Jim versus John. The Ravens travel to L.A. to take on the Chargers.
I love that. I think it's really great that they have that.
Yeah, I mean
Jim goes back and forth between college and pro.
What Jim's done right away, turn the Chargers around right away.
Absolutely.
Jim Harbaugh can coach.
He can.
He's weird.
No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Walz would say, man, this guy's weird.
That guy is weird.
But he can. But the creep can coach, man. That creep can roll, man. Yeah.
All right. Let's talk Mike Tyson. I think we talked about this fight.
I was certainly cheering for the champ. I did not watch it.
I can't imagine.
Again,
why.
the sleep cycle problems.
Let me tell you something. Okay, here's my opinion on it. He took him $20 million.
Yeah.
It was interesting to say the least. He was able to stay on his feet. He wore a jockstrap and showed his bare ass for the entirety of the nation to see.
And by the way, did you see what Mike Tyson looked like before the fight, though? Man, he looked 58 years old. I mean, got shredded.
Yes.
Like the guy's...
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a crazy thing. I love that he retired on his terms. He had a health battle and, kind of came back from that.
Yeah, he had an ulcer that, must have been really perforated.
Yeah.
And but look, hey, 58 years old, he went 8 rounds or whatever.
Stayed on his feet for 8 rounds. We were hoping for a knockout, but it was just basically like a big promotional gag.
I saw some of the highlights where you think, man, Mike Tyson could have thrown that punch there and didn't seem to throw it.
Yeah, I think there were several opportunities where he could have just taken this guy out and that would have been the end of it. But
hey, there's no losers in this fight. Champ got $20 million.
Absolutely.
Good for him.
Totally a promotional gig. It had Rosie Perez and Cedric the Entertainer commenting on the fight.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they had I
Yeah.
mean, they had some people there, but then Lennox Lewis was there and a couple of, other people, but Holyfield was there. But there were 4 fights on the card. 2 of them were really good and legitimate fights. And the other 2, which bookended the evening, were just 2 people acting like boxers. The finale is Father Time. We talk about this all the time, collecting an overdue debt. So it was a thing. I don't know if it's going to do anything for boxing. They're saying, it's going to make boxing better and more appealing. I don't think so. Not this.
No, I mean,
not this
I'm
style
more
of
interested to see, Tyson Fury's going to fight. The Ukrainian guy that was the light heavyweight champion that beat Tyson Fury in a very close fight. They're supposed to fight right around Christmas.
Yeah, watch
out
that.
of Saudi Arabia. They're elite heavyweights. I would much rather watch that. I enjoy boxing.
I do too.
I think it is the sweet science. I think
the gentleman's sport.
I think the great thing about the true boxer, it's the art of hitting without getting hit. And by the way, if a lot of people, who may be listening to us don't remember, Mike Tyson in the 80s was not only a devastating puncher. Man, Mike Tyson was really quick in his head movement stuff. He did not take a lot of punishment. The first time I ever saw Mike Tyson really take punishment was against James Buster Douglas. And Buster Douglas fed him a jab for 10 rounds. And it's how devastating a heavyweight's jab can be. Buster Douglas demonstrated that.
Yeah.
So Mike Tyson was very good at hitting without getting hit. That's one of the arts of boxing. I mean, Muhammad Ali, especially before the suspension, when he was so elusive, he was just hard to get.
He was hard to get too.
Yeah.
I also think that the first fight that it was they're called boxer influencers now.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but that's ridiculous. And I was like, they're like, oh, they're gonna fight each other. And this one guy stood there with his arms down and was like, come on, just punch me or whatever. I'm like, that is not boxing. No. That's just a street fight.
Yeah, the only guy that would do that and get away with it was Floyd Mayweather.
Sure.
Yeah, by the way, but Floyd Mayweather, again, might be a terrible person. He personified hitting and not getting hit.
Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Mayweather fight.
Right.
This is the last fight I watched before the Tyson fight. The last big one, that we all got together and watched the fight. And I was like, okay, this is most beautifully.
It's an exhibition of what the sport is supposed to be.
Correct. It was the most beautifully executed way to box.
Yeah.
Boring.
Yeah. Well,
super boring.
You know what I always respect, though, about heavyweights, and it's so rare when this happens. And when they get back up, it's amazing. When a heavyweight gets knocked down, rarely do they get back up. And it's because, man, they have been hit by a Mack truck.
Yeah.
The little guys, I understand the size thing, but they're just still not thrown with the power. When a heavyweight's punch is so heavy and so devastating that when those guys get back up off the mat, it's like, wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You got me, but not, you didn't quite get
or
me.
even when you look like, man, they really got him and they still get back up. I'm always impressed when a heavyweight can get off the ground, the mat, because rarely does it happen. I mean, there's famous, George Foreman could not get back up.
No.
Ali didn't even look like he hit him that hard, but it's the exhaustion and falling down to the mat when you're 6'4" and 230 pounds. It's a long way down. And oftentimes,
it's easy to stay there.
And oftentimes heavyweights will hurt their leg, a knee or something when they fall, because they'll fall awkwardly. Yeah. So anytime a heavyweight gets back up, I'm always really impressed by that. And by the way, I've seen Tyson Fury do it multiple times. Including against the Bronze Bomber, whatever. I can't think of the guy's what his real name was. A devastating puncher from Alabama. And I'm just blanking on his name. It'll come to me. To get back up when you get hit like that, I was like, wow. That's really impressive.
So I will say there was 2 fights on the card that were really good. There was 2 Mexican fighters that were beautiful, beautifully executed. And you can tell somebody that's been boxing their entire life versus somebody that thinks boxing is cool and wants to take it up because they have a lot of money. The footwork was really wonderful. The way that they moved in the ring and how that one fighter can always dictate the movement of the fight. The women's card was great. Those 2 women fought like crazy. Yeah. The Irish Olympian, and then a woman from Puerto Rico just killed it.
But you're talking about boxing, and I always love, when the one guy's walking the other guy down, and you'll see the foot placement. Always try to have his foot outside the other guy.
Absolutely.
And watching that and understanding, it's like, man, that's really impressive.
It's so impressive, and to have, I'm always impressed with boxers with the ability of knowing where their body is in space, which is proprioception. So
Right.
like their whole entire, like they know exactly to move maybe a millimeter this way, a millimeter, just maybe a head bob. And that dictates an entire fight.
And no one has been better than that in my life than Floyd Mayweather.
No.
I mean, he was just, again, completely aware where his body is in space at all times.
And super quick.
Right. And he was an artisan. Again, he's a jackass, but I mean, just
you're allowed to be a jackass and a very talented.
I mean, he's the best fighter I've ever seen.
Technically, yeah.
Now my favorite, it's funny, my favorite fighter, it's very much a Homer thing. It's Ray Leonard. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I grew up, watching Sugar Ray. One of the first fights I remember actually really watching and caring about was when he beat Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 15-round fight. It was a gigantic ring that Ray Leonard had so he could dance around. And but Ray Leonard, from Maryland, just really showed out. And I've always been a Ray Leonard fan, so he's my favorite fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Would be Sugar Ray. But the best fighter I've ever seen is Floyd Mayweather, and it's really not close. Like I just think.
But I think that I just want to put out there that I enjoy the sport of boxing. I like it because it is a sport and it does take a massive amount of skill. What I didn't like about this Tyson situation was that it was more like a WWE situation than I think boxing deserves. And I think that you had some really talented fighters that kind of got lost in the sauce because you had this main fight that happened at 11, about mainly midnight. I knew you weren't up for it.
No,
yeah.
There's no chance.
And then we watched 8 rounds, and it was only 8 rounds. And you were like, okay, great. I was like, look, he didn't get knocked out. He didn't fall over, and that's great. I'll take that as a win for Mr. Tyson. But yeah, so as far as the state of boxing, I think it's fine without all of the hoopla surrounding it. And if this person wants to donate to boxing and get people more interested in the sport and supporting sanctioned fights, then by all means do that. But there's a way of doing that that's better than whatever this Hollywood situation was.
Dios mío, man.
Yeah. So women's basketball.
Off to a good start.
NCAA basketball is back. It's heating up. Do yourself a favor. Look out for some great upcoming matches like Notre Dame beat USC 74-61 yesterday.
USC is one of those teams, a sneaky, really good team.
Super, super good. South Carolina Gamecocks taking on UCLA today, I believe. And, of course, we got to talk about UConn. Gino is the D1 all-time wins leader, which we knew would take. He took it over from Stanford because
was it Vandermeer?
Vandermeer,
Is it Tara Vandermeer?
Yeah.
Am I saying it right?
And I think so. She retired.
Yes.
So of course her winning streak stops.
Right.
He did not, and he
just
continues.
Like she caught Coach K because he was the lead.
Exactly.
And so and
we knew that was going to happen.
Gino is in the pantheon of all time coaches.
Yeah.
Of all time college basketball coaches, men or women.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he's the winningest of all NCAA.
Right. In women's, I mean it's Pat Summitt.
Yeah.
Those are the first two names that always jump out.
Absolutely. And they battled it out for years.
Yeah. But no, so. A lot of his former players were there to celebrate.
Yeah.
They gave him a goat, I think.
Yeah, they did. It was super cute.
Yeah.
So in the power rankings that just came out, so South Carolina's number 1. Nothing of this is surprising. South Carolina number 1, UConn 2, USC 3, UCLA 4. But the most exciting thing I think for us is that Maryland has entered the 10. They're number 10.
Maryland has looked very good. Brenda Fries is. When I say righted the ship, the ship was never really wrong. They took a little bit of a dip the last couple years.
Well, they did. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. The recruiting, the NIL, really has hurt teams like Maryland, and I think we can talk about that for football as well because you've got bigger universities and colleges that can offer players more.
And there was some level of disruption that was never entirely clear. When Reese left the program and some other players, I'm not blaming the players, I'm not blaming the coaches. There was some sort of friction. A group of players and coaches seemed to not mesh very well, and Brenda Fries has hit the reset button and has either she's connecting better with the players, got players that connected better with her,
or she's just restructured,
whatever. Again, I'm not blaming anybody in that, but there was something that was amiss.
Sure, and then those players got to be where they are now because they got the coaching that they styled.
And so it's
exciting.
It's great to see Maryland's women's basketball definitely playing well.
Yeah, top 10. Okay, MLB. The season ends, but
the hot stove. This is
Hot stove
this
is
is why
heating
it's
up.
called the hot stove.
It's hot, and there's some free agencies that are kind of hitting up.
Yeah, first off, Ohtani and Judge, unanimous MVPs, not surprisingly.
No, not surprising. So the Yankees, Juan Soto, speaking of Judge, is a free agent.
I really don't think I'm at the Yankees who he played for. He's kind of a mercenary. He's been there. He's been in the Padres and been in the Nationals the last 3 years.
You're right. Okay, so Juan Soto.
Juan Soto.
The singular Juan Soto is a free agent again, and he. Do you think he'll try to beat Ohtani's deal since he's only 26?
I don't think anybody will get. So by the way, there's also been some rumors. Is Juan Soto 26?
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I've heard at least some rumors.
Oh, interesting.
But no, you can't pay him more than you pay
Ohtani.
Shohei, because Shohei is a
dual.
Right. He's a frontline starter and one of the elite hitters in baseball.
Right.
So look, but Soto is mercurial. The Nationals offered him a lot of money.
And he didn't stay.
He turned it down, 400 and some odd million.
Yeah.
He's going to get a huge payday. But there's only a finite number of teams that are going to be willing to pay him that money.
Right. The Mets have met with him. The Yankees, but obviously he shut down the first half. The Red Sox have met with him.
Yeah.
The Blue Jays.
Yeah.
And
the Blue Jays have been trying to give away a lot of money for the last couple of years.
And they're desperate.
Well, but here's the problem with Blue Jays is
they're in Canada.
The tax rate is a problem. Especially when, look, it's a first world problem, okay? But their tax rate,
exactly.
The difference in salary of what you have to pay a guy if he plays in Toronto versus if he plays in Texas, where they have, or Florida, where there's no state income tax. I mean, that actually works against the Mets and the Yankees too. But now again, if you have Boston in it too, it's all the same.
Yeah,
but like if the Rangers got into it, you're right. They can say, "Hey, we're giving you the same money, or we're giving you less money, but it's actually more than what there's." That actually does work against. Certainly works against Toronto.
Soto has expressed that he likes the Phillies, but there has not been an official meeting. Yeah. But I think it's interesting.
So
I don't know. I mean,
here's my problem with him. He's such a difficult out. He's got one of the elite eyes in baseball that I've seen in the modern era.
Yep.
He will not swing at ball. He will walk. If you want to walk him 5 times, he's going to take 5 walks.
Yeah, because he's you said.
He just understands the strike zone. He has a great eye. He does not expand the strike zone. He is such a headache of an out. But I think he is a subpar defensive player.
I was going to say his defense is, I mean, like you said with Ohtani, he's like a 1-2 punch.
Right.
This guy is a 1 punch.
Right.
So you got to figure out where you're going to put him.
If you sign him to a 10-year contract, you've got to understand in 4 to 5 years, he's a straight DH.
Yeah.
Because he's a liability in right field.
Yeah.
I sit there and think, there is no doubt in my mind I would take Bryce Harper in right field above him every day, 100%. Even at 5-6 years older. I mean, Bryce 100%. Harper is an elite outfielder.
Well, I mean,
who now plays first base because of the arm issue.
Yeah.
But Bryce Harper could absolutely move out to right field again. I think if the arm's better.
If the arm's fine.
But he can. He's an elite defensive player. Soto is not. Again, I'm not taking anything away from his batting prowess.
No, but you have to be better than just a batter.
Yeah.
I mean,
if not, you're just Giancarlo Stanton.
Correct. But I think also the nature of the game is not hitters and pitchers anymore. You have to be a well-rounded player. So I think that has changed.
You can't listen. What do they say that baseball is the ultimate lie detector test, right? It exposed the season is the ultimate lie detector. And man, the baseball gods are funny. If you try to hide somebody in the outfield, man, the ball just finds it.
Yeah, exactly
It's just like a homing beacon.
Yeah.
And so
if you hate cats, they come right to you.
Yeah. I mean, so it's yeah. So I mean, I don't.
We'll see. I mean, I hope that he gets what he thinks he needs.
I'm certainly interested more in Corbin Burns. The Orioles ace.
Yeah.
He said supposedly the 2 front runners are the Dodgers and the Orioles. The Orioles have said they're going to spend money.
Good. They think they should.
So, but Burns is certainly the preeminent frontline starter in baseball.
Patrick Sandoval and Jordan Romano, 2 pitchers. One's coming off Tommy John surgery in June. He had it in June, and the Romano had a bad elbow injury and had surgery arthroscopic in July. So my thing is with pitchers, and they get released a lot, especially if they have surgical intervention and the team doesn't feel like it's worth rehabbing them.
Right.
I don't know if that's very typical, but Tommy John surgery is so normal now.
Yeah, but the problem is like if you had it in July, you got to figure he's not playing next year.
No.
Tommy John surgery takes about 16 months.
It does. So it's like
so
a weird investment.
The Orioles are going to see the mountain probably right, but he's going to be back at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Okay. Bradish not till probably August.
Right.
It's about 14 months.
Right.
In that range. So that's the problem on what you do now.
So does a team pick this guy up and just say like, look,
I think you give him like a short-term deal, like a 3-year deal, because if I'm that guy, I'm not taking a huge long-term deal because they're going to want too much of a haircut.
Right.
But you'll see, and again, I don't worry about a guy coming back from Tommy John surgery that he won't be able to pitch.
No, that's not my concern. Sometimes it's better.
It's just the timing, they're out.
It's a long rehab. Yeah. So the Angels released Sandoval, and I believe Romano was with the Blue Jays. But I think that, look, you got to get your players in and you're playing the long game. So you've got to figure out, okay, so if you can pick up one of these pitchers and they're going to be ready, not at the beginning of the season, but maybe towards the end of the season where you might need them more,
then but you just got to know that guy's not going to go in the first half.
Correct.
I mean, now the Dodgers know, hey, Ohtani's should be ready to go.
Yeah.
It started the season, right? Because he had the surgery last October.
Yeah, last fall.
Fall, September, October.
Uh-huh.
And so now, he made it through the whole season.
Yeah, but you know what? He was not invaluable to them.
Oh, that's why he just won the MVP.
I know.
But he was 50-50 guy.
Yeah, that's exactly why you got all that money.
But that's what I'm talking about with Soto. That's what baseball looks like now. Baseball, you've got to be able to run the bases. It's got to be steal bases.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to hit for power, hit for average, at least average to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But you got to be able to play defense. And
you have to be an all-arounder. You can't just be strong in one area and not the other.
Yeah, I think baseball's evolved back to maybe, it's maybe as the Beatles would say, it's gotten back to where it once belonged.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And I like it. I want to see hit and runs. I want to see stolen bases. I want to see
bunting.
I love watching guys go first to third.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite things. I love watching a guy go first to home, like when they are flying.
Yeah.
And there's nobody better than Bryce Harper. Yep. I love watching.
He gets hard.
Bryce Harper on the base pads is worth the price of admission.
Papa. He is. He's so good. And that's the thing. It's like when somebody said, and we had this discussion prior, maybe a couple episodes ago, where somebody says, "Oh, baseball's so boring." I'm like, "When was the last time you were in a game?" Yeah. And they say, "Oh, it's been a few years." I'm like, "Well, it's time to come back because baseball is back, baby."
Yeah, absolutely.
And
so a lot of hot stove to be decided.
I just will personal update. Tim and I are going to some spring training games in March. So we're excited. Yeah, Sox and O's. We're going to do that.
I've never been to spring training. It's on my bucket list.
Myers. Well, maybe we'll have to get you in on the fun then.
I know. It's on my bucket list.
Awesome. So, I mean, a lot happening.
A lot, and hey, so Thanksgiving coming up.
Yes.
So Lydia, we both have a thing that we're
known for.
We're known for.
Yeah, it's actually demanded at every Thanksgiving.
And what's yours?
Sweet potato pudding. It's Tim's mother's recipe, and we've been making it for about 18 years.
I'd like you to save some for. I did not have it last. I don't think I tried it last year.
You would love it because it has pecans on the top. It's more. It kind of can skew towards dessert, but it is not, and it's very good. I'd like to
try it.
Like a little lemon in it to kind of keep it not so super sugary. So, sweet potato pudding. We usually double that.
And I make dressing balls, stuffing balls. It looks like traditional stuffing, but it looks like about a baseball size. Gets
you put that in a muffin tin? Is that how you make them?
No, you literally form them up and you freeform them.
Oh, freeform. Oh, nice.
Occasionally you get a couple blowouts, so but it happens.
Yeah, that's how those are the tasters.
So you need the egg to help hold it together.
Yeah.
I have a new plan this year.
What's your plan?
I'm going to make the mix and put it in the refrigerator all night Wednesday night.
That's a good plan.
To help it, it helps it kind of set up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's going to be my new plan.
That's a good plan.
But yeah, so it was my grandmother's recipe
nice.
That my dad did for years. My brother and I do. My cousin, whose house we go to, was obviously her grandmother too. So it's for us, recipe. It's a family thing.
Yeah.
And so
my niece is going to be here. And so I typically say, okay, if she's coming, then she makes it because it's important that the next generation knows how to do it. I did hand her the recipe last year, maybe a year before, and she was like, I can't read this because it was all in cursive. Yeah. Because Tim's mother's penmanship was just spot on perfection.
But
so
she can't read cursive.
She can't read cursive. So, and I did give her a pass because she didn't know what oleo was, which is like one of those things, it's what you get with the classic.
My dad used to always I can remember like the 90s. My dad would be writing a market list and put oleo. I'm like, what is oleo?
Exactly.
That's just my dad meant butter, you know, but my dad just called it oleo.
Yeah, butter.
And then of course,
or parquet. That was the other thing.
I know oleo because crossword puzzle. It's
that's
frequently
exactly
oleo is one of those words that gets used a lot.
Butter substitute.
Yeah, butter,
oleo.
it's oleo.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm excited. We're going to have 25 and a half.
And a hook.
And a hook because Mr. Wee Willie will be joining us for his first Thanksgiving.
Awesome.
Yep. And so I'm in the process of, making sure the house is clean and ironing tablecloths and all that good stuff. So
Oy vey.
You're telling me. Yeah. And Tim is coming in like a hero
on
Tuesday.
He's coming in smoking turkeys.
Hot. Yeah, he's coming in. He's like, I'm coming in just for the turkey.
Yeah,
so
but
we're doing 2 turkeys this year.
So we're, Thanksgiving, Lydia, I'll speak for you on that, but say we both have a lot to be thankful for.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm, it's one of my favorite holidays.
I agree. And it was always near and dear to my folks. My folks usually hosted Thanksgiving. We've matriculated to my cousin Sid, who does a great job. Mm-hmm. But no, it's just a great chance to reconnect with your family and your friends. And it's it's one of those tried and true things that to be family, they don't have to be blood.
Absolutely. Yeah. We have our family is not related by blood, most of us, but we've just gathered these really great, amazing people, and we always treasure the time that we have together. And we also have I think if you don't have a place to go for Thanksgiving, you can always come here. So, and
that was always my mom and dad.
Yeah.
There's always some folks that maybe their families are gone or moved away or passed away.
Yeah.
That were regulars at my mom and dad's. And my parents would not have had it any other way. And I was always very appreciative of that fact.
Yeah. So we're gonna have a great time next week. I'm thankful for you.
A ditto.
So we get to do this.
Ditto that
thing.
I'm thankful for you. I'm not thankful for myself. I want to clarify that.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yes. No, but no, it's it's you're very lucky to have Thanksgiving. Again, it reminds you of that opportunity of you're very lucky to have your family and your friends. I was watching a thing with Bill Maher, and just end on this, and he was talking about about the elections and holidays, and it's like, you know what, man, they are your family, they are your neighbors, they are your friends, and politics have their place, but these folks who didn't vote the way that you and I did, or the way that we see the world, doesn't mean that you don't love them, and vice versa. I would say that there are folks that were for the former president, now president-elect, remember, we're your friends too. It's in there be gracious in victory and in defeat.
Absolutely.
And so, don't let, what I said is I'm not going to let politics ruin my Thanksgiving, my Christmas, my Hanukkah,
right.
my holiday season with my friends and family. And it's, again, I always say I'm bullish on America.
Yes, you are.
I'm gonna root for. I root for America.
Yeah.
I believe in American exceptionalism.
Yeah. Well,
there's certain things.
We just
regardless
of. We just need to do better.
Yeah.
And
we got to do better on how we treat each other.
Absolutely. And I think that's the thing. It's sort of like we have to get back to the basics of just being like, okay, what's going to benefit the whole rather than some of its parts. Right. And I think that
and Republicans are not my enemy. They're my neighbors, my friends. My family, and vice versa to the Republicans or the MAGA folks. We're not, progressives aren't here to destroy America. We're not here to. We have a different vision and view of ways that we do things in America. But remember, we're your neighbors, your friends, your family, and we all just need to remember that during the holidays.
Yes, and also if you are having issues or you're struggling with anything, please reach out to your friends and family. And if you yourself are feeling,
what's the number?
It's 988.
988. Yes.
So if you're feeling any sort of way about anything, and it doesn't matter, just call 988. It's 24 hours. It's anytime, any place. And it's a toll-free number.
Yes.
So it's much like 911, but it's 988. So go ahead and utilize that service if you do need it. And then make sure to check on your friends and family.
Yep.
And have a wonderful, happy holiday Thanksgiving, kicking it off Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's tons of stuff to do downtown
too.
Cumberland,
it's where it's at. So it's
Small Business Saturday.
Yeah, it's a great chance just to connect with downtown, connect with your community.
Absolutely.
And by the way, wherever you're listening, you have a community. Okay.
Yes.
If you're in Baltimore, there's a community. There's DC, there's a community. Pittsburgh or whatever town, there's always a community, and it's a chance to reconnect with your community. and friends that you haven't seen for a while, or maybe friends that you see all the time, still connect. But support Small Business Saturday. Support your local restaurants, bars. Biggest bar day of the year is Wednesday.
Wednesday night,
because every person who's cooking Thanksgiving is throwing their family out of the house. Be like, man. Also, it's like the second biggest pizza night of the year, only to Super Bowl Sunday.
Super Bowl,
because nobody wants to cook. So
I think we. We're going to have that problem. We're going to have not that Tim's family's a problem, but we're just going to be like in the throes of stuff.
No, you're going to be like, we're ordering like 7 pizzas.
Yeah, we're ordering pizzas from Hey, JJ's, heads up. We're ordering some pizzas. Yeah.
JJ's alum here.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Repping it. So season 5, episode 6 in the books, the Lawrence Taylor episode.
There
5
you
and 6
go.
together.
Nice.
But it's, so Lydia, it obviously, for those of you who I need to add 2 and 2 together for you to give you that 4.
Yeah.
If I tell you it's season 5, episode 6, that means there's been 5 previous episodes this season. There's 4 previous seasons before that. So Lydia, where can they find these other episodes if they just stumbled onto us now?
Or anywhere you get your podcast: iTunes, Stitcher, Amazon, Google Play, Spotify, Audible.
Love Audible.
We're on YouTube.
Yeah.
Not visually.
Not visually yet.
Yet. Is that something you want to do?
No, not really.
Dip your toe in maybe. And iHeartRadio, Deezer, Player FM.
Yep.
So those are where you can find us.
You can find us on Facebook.
Yes, where You Don't Know Jack podcast.
You can find us on Twitter at JackYDK.
Yes.
You can find Lydia on Twitter at
RTL Pod.
You can find me on Twitter at JMGGMPG. I do have a Blue Sky. It's still the same thing. It's JMGGMPG, but I don't really have anything set up yet. But I'm working on it.
Yes, I also have a Blue Sky, but I don't remember my login.
I know,
it might be L.
I was looking for RTL and couldn't find it.
I don't think RTL's on there, but I think it might be L-Sav. So that
she's going to have to find it.
I'm going to find it out.
We're dipping our toe in blue.
Yeah, I think we're moving more away from Twitter and more into Blue Sky. So just be aware. And
we'll keep you posted on those moves.
Absolutely.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
lady.
Thanksgiving.